This is part 4 of the series, Group by and Aggregations Turning Rows into Answers. How thousands of individual rows become one number a business can actually act on. If you've ever seen a dashboard showing total revenue or average order value and wonder how a database turns 10,000 individual transactions into that one clean number, this video is exactly that answer. Quick recap of where we've been. Part 2 covered CRUD, DDL, and DML. Part 3 covered join, connecting tables together. Now, Part 4, Group by and Aggregations. A join can hand you thousands of individual rows, one per order, one per customer, one per event. But nobody in a business meeting wants to scroll through 10,000 rows looking for a pattern. They want one number: total revenue, average order value, how many customers actually bought something last month. This is exactly how you get from one to the other. Let's start with the actual problem Group by solves. Imagine you have an orders table with 10,000 rows, each one an order ID, a category, and a total. That's what you have. What the business actually wants is much smaller. Total revenue by category, maybe 5 rows, one per category, not 10,000. Group by is the bridge between those two things. It's the tool that turns a giant pile of individual transactions into a short, readable summary a person can actually act on. Without it, you'd be stuck exporting all 10,000 rows to a spreadsheet and doing this math by hand, which is exactly the kind of task computers exist to take off your plate. Before we get to Group by itself, let's meet the 5 core aggregate functions, because Group by is basically useless without them. Count tells you how many rows there are. SUM adds up a column. AVG gives you the mean of a column. MIN gives you the smallest value. And MAX gives you the largest. On their own, each one collapses an entire table into a single row. Paired with Group by, each one collapses each individual group into its own row instead, which is where the real power shows up. Here's Group by in its most basic form, answering the question, what's our total revenue by category? Select category, and the sum of order total from orders, Group by category. Here's what's actually happening. Group by collapses every row that shares the same category value into a single bucket. Then SUM adds up the order total within each bucket separately. The result is one output row per category, not one row per order. Let's slow down and actually see this happen step by step, because understanding the mechanics here pays off constantly. You start with raw rows. Electronics, $49.99. Apparel, $12.50. Electronics, $34. Home goods, $89.99. Apparel, $8. Electronics, $61. Step 2. Group by sorts these into buckets by category. All the electronics rows together, all the apparel rows together, all the home goods rows together. Step 3. The aggregate function, SUM in this case, runs separately within each bucket. Electronics totals $144.99. Apparel totals $20.50. Home goods totals $89.99. 3 buckets in, 3 summary numbers out. Let's look more closely at count, because it actually has 3 genuinely different meanings depending on exactly what you put inside the parentheses. Count star counts every row, including rows where other columns might be null. Count of a specific column, like shipping method, only counts rows where that particular column is not null, skipping any blanks. And count distinct customer ID counts unique customers, collapsing duplicates down to 1 each. These 3 can return 3 completely different numbers from the exact same table, and knowing which one you actually need is honestly half the battle with count. Now, SUM and AVG in practice. Here we're calculating total spent and average order value per customer, selecting customer ID, summing order total, averaging order total from orders, grouped by customer ID. But here's an important warning. Both SUM and AVG silently ignore null values rather than treating them as 0. AVG in particular divides only by the count of non-null rows. If half of your order total values are null, because of some upstream data issue, your average will look healthier than reality actually is, and nothing will warn you that's happening. MIN and MAX round out the core 5, and they work on more than just numbers. Here we're finding the cheapest order, the priciest order, and the very first order date, all grouped by category. MIN and MAX aren't limited to numeric columns. MIN on a date column gives you the earliest date in that group. MAX gives you the most recent one, which is genuinely useful for things like, when did this customer first order, or when was their most recent purchase. Now, the single most common point of confusion in this entire topic: where versus having. Where filters individual rows, and critically, it happens before grouping ever occurs. That means where cannot reference an aggregate like SUM of order total, because those sums simply don't exist yet at the point where is evaluated. Having, on the other hand, filters entire groups, after grouping and aggregation have already happened. Having was built specifically to reference aggregates, since those values only come into existence once the groups have actually been formed. Let's put everything together in one real query, answering which categories, excluding canceled orders, brought in over $500. Select category, and total revenue from orders, where order status doesn't equal canceled. Group by category, having sum of order total greater than 500, order by total revenue descending. Notice the actual execution order here, which is different from the order we typed the clauses in, where runs first, filtering out canceled rows. Group by forms the category buckets next. Having then filters those buckets down to only the ones over $500. And finally, order by sorts whatever's left. Real business questions often need more than one dimension at once, and that's where grouping by multiple columns comes in. Select category, region, and the sum of order total from orders, group by category, region, order by category, then revenue descending. Now every unique combination of category and region gets its own row. Electronics in the West is completely separate from electronics in the East. The rule to remember: every column in your select that isn't wrapped in an aggregate function has to appear in your group by clause, or most databases will simply reject the query. You can keep adding columns to group by as your question gets more specific. Category, region, and month, for instance, would give you a separate row for every combination of all three. Let's bring join back into the picture, because group by and join show up together constantly in real reporting work. The question: which customers have spent the most, including customers with 0 orders. Select customer name, count of order ID as order count, and the sum of order total using coalesce to turn null into 0. From customers, left join orders, grouped by customer name, ordered by total spent descending. This is part 3 left join and part 4 group, by working together in the same query, exactly how most real-world reporting queries actually end up looking once you're past the basics. Here's what a query like this actually produces once it lands on someone's screen: an illustrative revenue by category chart. Electronics leading at 420,000, apparel at 310, home goods at 265, beauty at 190, sports at 150. This is the entire point of everything we've covered in this video, turning 10,000 individual order rows into 5 bars on a chart that someone can actually look at and make a decision from. Let's cover the mistakes that trip up almost everyone learning this. First, selecting a column that's neither group nor aggregated. Most databases will reject this outright with an error: every single column in your select needs to either appear in group by or be wrapped inside an aggregate function like SUM or count. Second, using where when you actually meant having. Where simply can't see the result of SUM or count yet, filtering on an aggregate value has to happen in having after the grouping is already done. And third, forgetting that count star and count of a column can genuinely differ. If that column has any null in it, count of the column will be smaller than count star, silently, with absolutely no warning that anything's different. Let's walk through a capstone query that pulls together everything from this video, and the last one. The question: who are our top repeat customers, and what's their average order value? Select customer name, count of order ID as order count, the rounded average of order total as average order value, and the sum of order total as total spent. From customers, inner join orders on matching customer ID, where order status doesn't equal canceled. Group by customer name having count of order ID greater than or equal to 3, meaning at least 3 real orders, order by total spent descending. Every single concept from parts 2 through 4 shows up in this one query: a join, a where filter, a group by, a having filter on an aggregate, and an order by, all working together to answer one specific, genuinely useful business question. So here's the takeaway. 10,000 rows walk into a query, one clean summary walks out, at group by. Count, sum, AVG, min, and max collapse rows into numbers. Group by decides what the buckets actually are. Having filters the buckets themselves, not the individual rows. That's where job instead. Get that order right in your head. where filters rows, group by forms buckets, adding filters buckets, and most reporting questions you'll ever face become a single, fairly short query. This is genuinely one of the highest leverage things you can get comfortable with in SQL, because it's the difference between having data and actually being able to explain what that data means to someone else. Next up in this series, subqueries and CTEs, building queries out of smaller queries for the questions that even group by alone can't quite answer. Thanks for watching.